This video is part 2 of the Unit 4 test review. Okay, so question number 6 of our review. The graph of line F is shown on the coordinate grid. So here is F. What is the equation of a line, or of the line perpendicular to line F passing through the point 3, -6? Okay, so if we have another line that's perpendicular to this line, we need to know, first of all, the slope of the original line. So what is the slope here? We have a rise of 1 and a run of 3, okay? So the slope of this line F is 1/3, okay? Now, what is a line that's perpendicular to line F? Well, what is the perpendicular? That stands for perpendicular slope, would be -3/1, which we just call -3, because remember we flip the fraction, so 1/3 becomes 3/1, and if it was positive, it becomes negative, or vice versa. It's always the opposite reciprocal, okay? So the new line is going to have a slope of -3, and it passes through the point 3, -6. So this is where we use the point slope form, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And then we just plug in our numbers. All right, if our numbers are 3 and -6, or this is our point, our x and our y, we're going to fill that in here and use our new slope. Okay, so we're going to do y minus -6, which becomes y plus 6. So basically we took the opposite of this -6 and made it plus 6. Equals our new slope, -3 times x minus 3. X minus 3. Okay, so our plus 3 became -3. Now we have our equation in point slope form, and this may very well be your answer. Okay, in terms of if it's a multiple choice test, they may give you your answers in point slope. If they're in slope intercept form, then you have to go the next step by multiplying the slope times the terms inside the parentheses and then solving for y. So let me show you what that looks like real quick. We have y plus 6 equals, and then we're going to multiply -3 times x, which is -3x, and we're going to multiply -3 times -3, which is minus or plus 9. From there, we're going to try to solve for y. So we got to get rid of this plus 6 by subtracting 6. But we have to do that to both sides. So we subtract 6 here and subtract 6 here. And our new equation is going to be y equals -3x. And then 9 minus 6 is plus 3. So this line, or this equation, which is actually the same as this, will have a slope perpendicular to this line, okay? Notice we have a positive slope here and a negative slope here. All right, next question. What is the slope of a line, or what is the slope and equation of a line parallel to the y-axis passing through these points? Well, if it's parallel to the y-axis, let's think about it. If we have our axis here and it's parallel to the y-axis, then we know it has to be a vertical line. This is parallel. This line and the y-axis are parallel. That means the equation, it's going to be a vertical line. So remember our mnemonic phrase, Vux, okay? So the equation is x equals a number. Well, the equation is going to be whatever the x value it has to go through, and it has to go through a 9. So the equation of a line that's parallel to the y-axis and goes through this point is x equals 9. X equals 9. And how do we describe that slope? Remember, it's vertical. Vux, the U stands for undefined. So this would be an undefined slope. That's part of your answer. Okay, moving on. Question number 8. The distance a car travels varies directly with the number of hours driven. Okay, we had a lesson about direct variation. Remember, I told you that y varies directly with x, so the distance y varies directly with the number of hours, so our hours is going to be the x, okay? Now, this says that a car travels 350 miles in 5 hours. If the car continues to travel at this same rate, how long will it take the car to go 875 miles? Now, there's different ways to figure this out, but what we learned in this class is that when we have direct variation, we have y equals kx. Y equals kx. Or, if that is true, then we know that k is equal to y divided by x, okay? Well, our y is the distance. Our x is the number of hours. This says that a car went 350 miles in 5 hours. So we are going to have 350 divided by the x, which is 5, okay? So when you work this out, you're going to realize that the k, or the constant variation in this example, is 70, okay? A car would be going 70 miles an hour. For 5 hours, it would go 350 miles. Well, if we know that, and we know that a car has gone 870 miles, we're just going to end up dividing the 875 by 70. But here's what that looks like when we use the direct variation form. We're going to replace y with the with the new 875 miles, because that's our distance. So 875 is equal to, and then we replace k with our 70, and we're trying to figure out x. Well, if that's the case, then we just solve this by dividing both sides by 70. And we're going to realize that x equals 12 and a half. 12.5. All right, question number 9. A relay manufacturing plant manufactures 20,000 relays in an 8-hour shift. The relays produced vary directly with the hours worked, okay? So again, y varies directly with x, so the relays vary directly with the hours, okay? Now, what is the equation that represents the number of relays produced as a function of the number of hours, okay? So as a function of number of hours, we would see something like this. F of x is equal to the 20,000 relays divided by the 8-hour shift. Or maybe it's just in equation form of 20,000 divided by 8. All right. Moving along here, which graph represents the function negative 2x minus 5y equals negative 10? All right, so this equation is in standard form, but which one of these is graphed correctly? Well, you can convert this to y equals mx plus b, all right? So we have learned how to do this. We have negative 2x minus 5y equals negative 10. All right, now to convert this, again, we need to solve for y. To do that, we're going to remove this 2x by using the inverse or the opposite operation, which is to add 2x. You can do that as long as you add 2x to the other side. All right, when you do that, the 2x's are going to cancel. On the left side, you're left with negative 5y equals, and then here, just as a reminder, we're not adding 2 to 10. This is a separate term. This is 2 times x. So we're going to have our 2x, and then we have our minus 10. Finally, in order to solve for y, we're going to divide by the exact same number, the coefficient with y, which is negative 5, so that equals just 1y. If we divide by negative 5, we divide everything by negative 5. Our new equation is y equals negative 2/5 x plus 2. All right. So a couple things we realized. We need an intercept of +2. So it could be this one here or this one here. This one's definitely out. And this one is out. We also know that we have a negative slope. So this is a negative slope that goes through 2. And that would be the only possible answer. Now, just real quick, I want to remind you that I taught you that when you have standard form equations, you can simply find the slope by taking the opposite of A divided by B. And remember, I said that this equation is in AX plus BY equals C form, okay? So the opposite of the A, the opposite of a -2 would be +2, and divided by B, which is -5y or -5. So you know that we have to have a slope of -2/5. The only one with a slope of -2/5 is this first one down to the right 5. So again, that is the correct answer. But if you can convert it to y equals mx plus b, you are sure to get the right answer as well. All right, let's take a look at this next question. This says each month David receives $2,500 for working part-time at his uncle's bicycle shop. For each bicycle that he sells, he earns $25 bonus. What would the equation be used to find David's total monthly paycheck based on the number of bicycles that he sells? Okay, so this is about a monthly paycheck. All right. So let's think about it. If David, first of all, in 1 month, he's guaranteed to make $2,500. But he also earns a $25 bonus based on each bicycle that he sells. Well, some month he may sell 2, or some month he may sell 5. We don't really know. It's a variable, but we know we have to multiply that number or that variable times 25. And that is our X. The bicycles are represented by X. So David's total monthly paycheck, Y, is going to be equal to $25 times X, which is the number of bicycles sold, plus the $2,500 that he gets for working for the month, okay? So that is an equation, okay? And it may look like, it may be in function form. You could see it as f of x equals, same thing, 25x plus 2,500, okay? All right, it's a function or an equation that represents his monthly pay. This question number 12 is very similar. It says Jones Electrical charges a service call fee of $65 plus $20 for each hour of service. Eli wrote a linear function using C, the total cost of a service call, as a function of T, the number of hours the service call lasted. What is the value of the slope in this equation, and what does it represent? Okay, so the Jones Electrical charges a service call fee of $65, so you're guaranteed to pay $65. However, there's an additional $20 based on how many hours of service. All right, so that's our variable that's going to affect the change. That's our slope. Our rate of change is going to be $20 per hour. So for this function, if we call the total cost C, it's equal to $20 per T, which is the time. And then we're going to add to that the service fee of $65. So that's what that equation would look like. And again, if we were to describe what is the value of the slope, well, the slope is 20, and it represents the charge per hour of service, or the rate of change, okay? If there were no hours, it would just be 65 for showing up. But after 1 hour, it would change by $20, and it would be 85, and so on. All right.